You've got mail.
Once upon a time, there was a little ballerina. She was beautiful and brown-haired and had huge brown eyes that only shone when she danced. She knew how to enchant the audience and floated with such ease over the stage that the other ballerinas could only admire her. She was the best. Every time the thunderous applause ended and she took a long bow, she would quickly flit to the dressing room to look in the huge gold-framed mirror and check if her chestnut brown hair was still in the right place. One day, however, when she had just finished her dance number, she ran backstage to find that the door to the dressing room was locked. Now all her fellow dancers were busy performing her choreography, so the little ballerina had no choice but to sit in the audience and wait until the show was over. Frustrated, she sat down in the back row because the show was almost sold out. She looked at the stage, and what she saw there took her breath away. 5 ballerinas, each more beautiful and graceful than the last, danced to the music with ease. Their slender bodies moved nimbly, and they seemed to glide through the air like dandelions on a beautiful summer's day. The little ballerina felt something inside her chest that made her feel like she couldn't breathe. "I want to look like that when I dance," she thought to herself. She wondered if her movements were as elegant and if her hair shone as beautifully in the spotlight as theirs did. She had never watched the others in their shows, and although she loved to dance, she suddenly didn't feel very good anymore. She snuck out of the hall with her head bowed and went to lay down in her warm bed. She became very, very sad. The others had danced so beautifully that the show would never look so good with her. When she went to her ballet class the next day, as she did every morning, she still felt miserable.
"Honey, what happened to you? You look so pale,"
cried Madame Chapeau as the little ballerina entered the room. But she just smiled convulsively, and the training began. As the little ballerina watched her fellow dancers once during the class, she noticed how one of them, Claire, could swing her leg vertically and up to her ears. She had never noticed this before, and the little ballerina knew she could do it too, but she thought it did not look as graceful doing it. And so the little ballerina began to pay more and more attention to how beautifully her fellow dancers danced, forgetting completely that she herself was able to dance fantastically. And she grew paler and paler until one day she was almost invisible. The oldest teacher, Madame de Tête, noticed that there was something completely wrong with the little ballerina. Apart from the fact that she was tired all the time, she seemed to have no fun dancing anymore, and her dancing itself had deteriorated. Moreover, she was hardly visible anymore. Her little body shimmered like parchment in the desert sun, so she decided to take the little ballerina aside and talk to her the very next day.
"Honey, tell me, what's the matter with you? For weeks now you've been getting more and more inconspicuous and you don't enjoy dancing at all. Did something happen?"
The little ballerina looked down in shame. She was very fond of Madame de Tête and did not want to disappoint her.
"I don't know. I love dancing. But everyone else is so elegant and graceful and dances so much better than me. They are praised and I am not. I don't feel like it anymore."
She looked at her in astonishment.
Now, my little one, who says the others are better than you?"
"Nobody. But I watched the others at a show a few weeks ago, and ever since I can't get the thought out of my head that I want to be able to dance as well as they do. Besides, it seems as if everyone else is always allowed to dance in the front row. Even in the new choreography, I am no longer in the front row as I usually would be. I just don't know what to do anymore."
Madame de Tête was surprised. Shaking her head, she said,
"My dear, now listen to me for once. You are one of the best dancers we've ever had here, and just because the other ballerinas are as good or almost as good as you are does not mean that this makes you any worse. If you compare yourself to how high others can swing their leg, it won't do you any good, because you will get paler and paler, and in the end you will disappear completely. You don't want that, do you?"
The little ballerina shrugged her shoulders.
"But I can't stop. I feel like I'll never be like them."
And isn't that wonderful? Because you're just you. No one expects you to be like the others, and nobody expects the others to be like you. And when another dancer is praised, it does not mean that you have done anything wrong and that you have to envy her for it. That is what makes you more invisible every day.
"And how can I become more visible again?"
asked the ballerina, still doubting.
By opening your heart and just being happy for the others. Rejoice when they are praised, because that does not make you worse or better yourself. What makes you worse is the envy that seizes you and makes you grouchy and gives you a bad day. And in the end, this affects your performance because you are so focused on wondering why someone else is being praised and you are not, that you waste all your energy on it instead of using it for yourself and your training and improving yourself. For only those who can honestly and sincerely rejoice for others and allow them to enjoy what they receive will always be at peace with themselves and be able to direct their energy towards that which brings them the most joy. This way, you will never have to compare yourself to others, because you can trust that no comparison in the world will make you a better or worse ballerina.
And when the little ballerina had understood this, she felt more relieved than ever, because she knew that no matter how well the others danced, it would have no effect on her dance, because she was good the way she was, and no ballerina in the world would be able to change that. She became more visible from day to day and opened her heart. She rejoiced when the others were praised and applauded and became incredibly happy and satisfied herself and danced better than ever before, knowing that she was and always would be the best version of herself.